This is why Steph came back. So everybody out there who thought Steph should have taken the rest of the year off, this is what he does. This is who he is.
We're not guaranteed a series yet, but these nights make everything worth it because you feel the anxiety of having to perform when the lights are bright, do or die game. Like I said, the last 2 days of preparation, trying to get our game plan right, got us really locked in on the moment. So considering how our season...
Because we're fully in the postseason, guys. We got action last night. Steph Curry, the Warriors, they really turned back the clock. This was a vintage performance that we saw against the Clippers. And Tim had a little bit of a slow start. He only had 8 points, 2 of 9 shooting in that first half. He turned it way up here in the third. The handoff from Draymond, this is what he does. And he's counting them 1, 2, 3, 4. Mindset defense.
So everybody out there who thought Steph should have taken the rest of the year off, this is what he does. This is who he is.
We're not guaranteed a series yet, but these nights make everything worth it because you feel the anxiety of having to perform when the lights are bright, do or die game. Like I said, the last 2 days of preparation, trying to get our game plan right, got us really locked in on the moment. So considering how our season has gone and all the injuries and all that, for us to play the way we did tonight, it was special. I know we're not satisfied. We want to go to Phoenix and guarantee, a playoff series against OKC. That's the next goal. But for us to lock in on just 48 minutes, figure it out, however we can, get a win, knowing that the game was not going to be perfect, we were all pretty committed to that.
For one night, we're us. We're champions again.
So, Stubbs, we were in the building for this one. This was the happiest that I have seen Steve Kerr in quite some time. For one night, we are champions again. I mean, he was elated. Yeah, Steph Curry went over that minute limit. He played 36. That's his most since he returned to the Warriors lineup. And, Shump, I know you've had the experience of Steph Curry postseason firsthand, but you told our producers that the Clippers, they made a strategic error, you thought, defending him. What did you see there?
Yeah, and especially me getting the chance to play under T. Lue. I watched a ton of film with knowing that Steph Curry is just nursing that right knee. To see him go left as much as he did was actually concerning if I'm looking at it from a standpoint of what the Clippers were doing in their game plan defensively against him. They didn't force his right leg to be his brakes. If you notice, everything he shot, he fell and made sure that most of his balance relied on his left leg. And I just expected them to make him shoot from the right side of the floor where he would have to load and then as well as use the brakes on that right leg just to make sure that they have any type of chance and make sure that, the release is not going to be as quick because he would have to make sure he corrals, get his balance, and make sure it's a good shot every time. It was concerning to me. Everything that he did was going left. He was putting on the brakes to do a quick step back. It wasn't one of those hard step backs. It's like a quick side step to a step back. And I just thought that I would see more forcing him downhill to have to explode going left and then cutting that step off, cutting the step back off and then getting him to the right side of the floor if he is going to raise for jump shots to make sure that that right foot has to hit last and that he has that balance.
You know who's keying in on that? Phoenix right now is listening to Iman Shumpert and saying, oh, okay, let me just make sure we take some notes on that, right?
Dylan Brooks just like this.
Dylan Brooks is saying, yep, okay, understood the assignment right here for their next play-in game. But it wasn't just Steph, right? Steph was a huge part of being able to close this one out. But Draymond's defense on Kawhi Leonard, Kawhi even had high praise for him, called him a Hall of Famer. This is why he's a Hall of Famer after the game.
Yeah, these were the two pillars of the Warriors dynasty, giving us a glimpse of that greatness, reminding us of why they're going to be first ballot Hall of Famers. And I don't know, has there been a better defensive quarter played by anybody this season? I'm sure Wemby has the case, but as Kawhi said, it was hard to even get a shot up. I mean, Draymond just draping him all over the floor. Certainly one of the most versatile, dominant defenders that we've ever seen. This is a guy who can anchor a defense and who can say, hey, I'm taking the challenge of an elite scorer on ball. He's not going to be able to get shots up, and then coming up with the two huge steals down the stretch when the Warriors needed those stops the most.
And he was a little under the weather, right, Chums?
Yeah, vintage Draymond Green.
Right.
This was a defensive masterclass. But to me, what was even more impressive was team sources told me Draymond Green was sick. He was throwing up, puking all over the place in pregame. Sideline, in the back area by the locker room. And you could tell as the game was starting, his energy level looked a little low. But darn, that fourth quarter, especially those final 6 to 8 minutes of the game, I think he guarded, here's a stat from our ESPN Stats and Info group. He guarded Kawhi Leonard on 12 possessions in the fourth quarter. Not only did Kawhi Leonard not score, he didn't even get a shot off. And so you think about vintage Draymond Green, what he's known for. I mean, you have to give him his flowers. He was dominant. As dominant as we've seen him all season.
He certainly was, and the Golden State Warriors, this wasn't a championship, but this was the Golden
Warriors Nation News. Dub Nation, let me ask you something that should make every basketball fan stop scrolling right now. What do you call it when a team looks old, injured, written off, stuck in a 10 seed, down 13 in the fourth quarter of a win-or-go-home game, and then suddenly starts looking like the old Golden State again? Aha, you call that a problem, a real problem. Because the Warriors just reminded everybody that when Steph Curry and Draymond Green smell survival basketball, the whole mood changes. Golden State came back to beat the Clippers 126-121 in the play-in, closing the game on a 27-13 run after trailing by 13 late, with Steph Curry scoring 35 and hitting 7 threes, while Al Horford scored all 14 of his points in the final 5:37 and drilled 4 massive threes to help keep the season alive. Reuters also noted Guy Santos gave the Warriors 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, while Kristaps Porzingis added 20 more, and just like that, yeah, the Warriors turned one of the ugliest seasons of the Steve Kerr era into one more shot at the playoffs. And let's be real, Dub Nation, the most terrifying part for the rest of the league is this was not even some fully unleashed perfect condition Steph. Before that Clippers game, Reuters reported Curry was still coming off a 27-game absence because of his right knee injury and was expected to be around 32 minutes after not topping 29 since returning. Then the pressure got hotter, the season got tighter, and Steph still bent the whole night anyway. That is why nobody serious ever talks about the Warriors like they're just another play-in team. Restricted Steph is still Steph. Managed Steph is still Steph. And once he gets a game into that final 5-minute zone, the entire geometry of basketball starts getting weird for the other team. Now here is what should really fire up Warriors fans. This was not one-man rescue mission. This looked like old Warriors blood mixed with new Warriors answers. The San Francisco Chronicle said Curry and Draymond Green turned back the clock, and it sure felt that way because Draymond gave them defense, edge, passing, and timing, while Porzingis gave them size and spacing, and Guy Santos gave them real energy on both ends. Aha, that matters. That really matters, because all year long, so much of the conversation around Golden State has been about what they lost, what they lack, what they can no longer do. But against the Clippers, they finally look like a team that still has multiple ways to make you panic. Steph with the gravity, Draymond with the brain, Horford with the old man daggers, Porzingis giving them a different shape, Guy flying around making winning plays. That is not nostalgia. That is a team still capable of creating chaos. And let's talk about Draymond for a second, because if Steph was the explosion, Draymond was the suffocation. Reports coming out after the game said he was sick, dealing with an illness serious enough that he needed treatment before the game, and he still went out there and made Kawhi Leonard miserable in the biggest moments. SF Gate reported Draymond battled through that illness and locked in defensively, while San Francisco Chronicle coverage before the play-in had already framed him as a 16-game player, the kind of guy whose whole season is about these win-or-go-home moments, not random nights in January. That is exactly what showed up. Vintage Draymond, annoying Draymond, genius Draymond, the kind of Draymond that reminds everybody why this core won so much in the first place. Now the next challenge is Phoenix, and no, this is not where the Warriors get to relax, not even close. Reuters reported that Golden State's comeback over the Clippers advanced them into another sudden death game, this time against the Suns for the West number 8 seed, with Oklahoma City waiting in round 1 for whoever survives. The San Francisco Chronicle laid out 3 major keys for the Warriors in that matchup: manage the fatigue of this veteran-heavy group, defend Phoenix's spacing and perimeter shooting, and most of all, avoid live ball turnovers because Golden State has been one of the league's sloppiest teams in that area. Yeah, that's the stress point right there. The Warriors don't need help making things hard on themselves. They can do that all by themselves with dumb turnovers. So if they want to finish this run, ball security has to be sacred. But here's why I still lean favorable to the Warriors, and I mean it. They already look like a team that learned something in that Clippers game. The Chronicles' breakdown of the Phoenix matchup emphasized fatigue, perimeter defense, and turnovers, but it also made clear that Golden State has a real path if it can keep the game in its preferred emotional range: close, tense, chaotic, execution heavy. Because once the Warriors get there, they still have the most reliable closer in the whole equation. Steph Curry remains the center of gravity for everything. The same Chronicle reporting after the Clippers game highlighted how Steph and Porzingis finally gave the team a more meaningful look at their partnership. And that matters, because every second of extra chemistry this late in the year could become huge. If that connection keeps growing even a little bit, the Warriors become harder to scheme than they were a week ago. And I love the emotional side of this too, because Warriors fans took over that Clippers environment in a way that made the building feel like old Oracle all over again. SF Gate described it as a road atmosphere that tilted hard toward Golden State, with Warriors fans overwhelming the Clippers' home court gimmicks and turning the comeback into something that felt bigger than a normal play-in game. That stuff matters. Energy matters. Crowd pressure matters. Belief matters, especially for an older team that's lived through every possible kind of postseason moment. When the building starts sounding like it belongs to Golden State, that old confidence comes back fast. So here's my final take, Dub Nation, loud and clear, favorable to the Warriors all the way. Not because the road is easy, not because the Suns are weak, not because the regular season was pretty, because it absolutely was not. Favorable because in the only environment that matters now, do or die basketball, Golden State just proved it still has the one thing you can't fake: championship composure under chaos. Steph still owns moments. Draymond still changes games without scoring 30. Horford just delivered one of the craziest veteran closing stretches you'll ever see. Porzingis and Gee gave them real support, not fake support, real support. And once the Warriors drag a game into that last 5 minutes with Steph Curry alive, all that clean logic everybody loves starts melting. That's still a dangerous team. That's still a scary team. And that's still a team that can make somebody's whole season feel very uncomfortable. So now tell me, Dub Nation, after that comeback over the Clippers, do you believe the Warriors finished the job against Phoenix and steal the 8th seed? Or was that comeback the emotional peak of the run? Drop your take in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe to Warriors Nation News.